Het-Heru and Namaste. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. This is Kasankma Keperu with another broadcast for you. And today I want to do a follow-up to a video I previously did, which was on Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It was a movie review, and I had some spoilers in that one. And this one I'm going to do The Last Jedi Decoded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into basically the symbolisms, what the meanings are behind certain things, the iconography, all of that. And I'm going to try to make this a bit shorter because the last video I did was about an hour. I didn't mean it to be so long. And I'm just fighting a little bit of a cold, so you guys bear with me. Also, I lost power in my apartment, so this video may look a little dark, so please forgive me for that. So hold on, let me just see if I can straighten some things out with the monitor here. Yeah, I can do that there. And because I want to see, let me move this here. I think that'd be better. Wait, hold on. I got multiple screens here, so I just want to see if I can, okay, great. So anyway, so yeah, this is going to be Star Wars: The Last Jedi Decoded, and I'm going to go into a lot of detail about the movie. Like I said, the last video I did was strictly on a review of, you know, like how I felt about the film and so on and so forth. But here, I think you're going to get some really juicy stuff that's going to explain a lot. Okay, you're gonna walk away after watching this video going, now this makes sense. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, the one thing that you have to understand is that Hollywood is a big occult town. You know, in fact, the whole idea of Hollywood, you know, you know, you know, if you pull back the curtain and get deep inside, you'll find that there is a lot of pedophiles. There's sex parties. There's a lot of things going on that the mainstream media doesn't want to address. And this is very important too, because a lot of people in the industry, well, I should say the industry works very hard at keeping this stuff undercover. They don't want people to know that this goes on. But I think it was the movie Eyes Wide Shut, where Stanley Kubrick tried to reveal a little about these secret societies and what goes on in this underworld. And these secret societies really do exist, you know. And, you know, we don't want to believe it. We don't want to address it, but, you know, they are there, all right? Now, Star Wars, for a lot of us Star Wars fans, means a lot. So when J.J. Abrams announced that he'd be working on The Force Awakens, we were all very excited about it. And then when the film was released and we got a chance to see it, many of us were disappointed. Now, the idea was behind that, I guess he explained that it was kind of like a nostalgia thing. It was a look back at the original trilogy, and maybe in a way to get the new audience, the new fans, a way to catch up. So, you know, we kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt. Then along comes The Last Jedi, and we're like, what the hell was this? And, you know, in some instances, to me, it's worse than the Force Awakens. So now it's all about context. If you look at The Last Jedi, and this is going to be a lot of spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen the film yet, you may want to reconsider if you want to watch this and wait. But it's all about context. So if you're watching The Last Jedi from the perspective of a Star Wars fan, and you're looking for plot lines or plot threads to be continued from The Force Awakens, that's not going to happen. Because this film has a very, very strict agenda that they're following, and it's very much in your face. So when you see The Last Jedi, and you're going to be puzzled. You're going to be like, well, why did they do this? Why did they do that? That makes no sense. But in actuality, it makes a lot of sense. As long as you don't look at it from the context of picking up from the Force Awakens or from the IP, the intellectual property that Lucas left behind or gave to Disney. So if you don't look at it from that context, but look at it from the context of the agenda of feminism and the social justice warriors and what they're trying to push in terms of diversity as well, then it all comes together. It's like pieces in a puzzle, and you can see the bigger picture here, you know? So that's what it's really all about. So what I wanted to do is give you first that big picture. So as I break down the movie itself, it'll start to make more sense to you, because the whole idea behind Star Wars: The Last Jedi is to instill within the female audience, especially the young girls, young women, that males aren't to be trusted, you know, and that women are better than males and women don't need them and women can do it all on their own. That's pretty much what this film is summing up and what it's saying. Now, that is a departure from what Lucas was trying to do, because Lucas even said it himself that he saw the Star Wars trilogy as a space opera. In fact, he said that when he did the films, he relied heavily on Joseph Campbell's A Hero's Journey, because he put these archetypal figures into the film itself. Like you had, you know, Luke, you had, who represented the young man going through life, learning about life. You had Obi-Wan Kenobi, the wise man. You had Han Solo, this rebel guy who didn't care about anything. But anyway, so and you should read some of the works of Joseph Campbell. It's really interesting. But going into this, one of the things you have to understand also is that most films that you watch are not any different than The Last Jedi. So when Disney got a hold of the IP, they knew that that Lucas's property not only was a cash cow, but it would be seen globally. It would be something to where it would affect the culture of the planet. So being in a cult town as they are, they knew that they had an opportunity to steer the direction of the way people thought, the way people acted. And that's pretty much what every Hollywood film attempts to do. So if we think it's all about artistic expression or freedom of speech, then we're deluded, you know, deluded or delusional, sorry, delusional. So when you have this property that has the potential to reach audiences on the global level, well, then the hierarchy, the cabal or Illuminati, whatever you're going to call them, are going to put their little hand in there to influence the storyline. Now, you may think that Johnson, who directed the film, you know, that he has a lot of influence on the direction of it, but he doesn't. In actuality, that he's a director who paints by numbers, because he's told what to do. And if he doesn't, in fact, when you're a director in Hollywood and you get hold of a franchise like the Avengers, if you don't play ball and do what they tell you to do, they'll just find another director. It's that simple, you know? So if they tell you that this film is going to have a strong feminist agenda and you'll agree with that, you're just going to be out, and they will blacklist you from the industry. You won't ever work again. So that's how it basically works. And Kathleen Kennedy, who heads Lucasfilm, if Disney says this is what we want, she's probably going to have to do it, you know? So, you know, even though she may not agree with it, because I'm still kind of a little perplexed as to how we get Rogue One, which is a pretty decent film, and go from Rogue One to Last Jedi, which is just like night and day, you know? So not really sure how that happens, but they use this, I think what they use this as an opportunity, Episode 8, to spread the propaganda, because they saw that they had the potential of reaching a global audience. So that's what I think that what was going on here. But like I said, it was not just Star Wars, but many films that Hollywood produces has their own type of propaganda, from The Matrix, you know, to the Ten Commandments. You know, it's there. You just got to look at it. Now, whether it's on a very subliminal level or it's overtly in your face, you know, you'll have to decide and look at, you know, what they've done. Sometimes it's subliminal, and oftentimes it's right in your face, you know. But here is when you're looking at something, as I said before, and things don't make sense, then that's an indication to you that maybe there's something else going on. And if you're looking at it from, if you look at it from a different perspective, it will make sense. Just put it in the right context. Okay, so you with me on that? All right. So let's go into this. I'm going to go into this pretty quickly. So when you first start out, right, we have Rey go to the planet, I think it's called Octu, where she meets Luke, and she's handing Luke the lightsaber, right? And Luke takes the lightsaber and he just throws it over his shoulder. He doesn't care about it anymore. Now, many people are saying that a lot of films are being influenced by Thor Ragnarok, where they're injecting all this comedy. And not actually, Thor Ragnarok was influenced by Guardians of the Galaxy, where they peppered like these comedy elements throughout all of it, and Hollywood's seeing the box office returns and saying, "This works. This works." You know, so films are kind of trying to duplicate that, but I don't think that's what it was. So here again, we have the theme of the lightsaber represents the phallus, the male penis. Rey handing it to Luke and Luke throwing it over his shoulder shows that he's denouncing his power, his penis. Okay, basically, he doesn't want it anymore. So he's denouncing the Force. He's not connecting with the Force. Now, okay, so the next thing is the infamous titty milk scene, where Luke goes up to this alien creature and squeezes her nipples and gets milk, blue milk or whatever it is, and is drinking that. And it's a weird scene where the alien creature looks over at Rey. So this is a scene where it's a type of like what I'm going to refer to often in this video as Arrested Development, or where Luke is being kind of like taken back into a childlike state, that he needs to be nurtured or nursed by this archetypal matriarchal figure. So the alien creature represents the matriarchal figure that's nursing Luke, and Luke is no longer, in our eyes, allowed to be Master Luke the Jedi, Master Skywalker, but now he reverts back to this individual who needs to be taken care of, which is symbolized by the nursing and the milk, which was a very horrible scene. I don't know why they kept that in there, you know. The training, everybody was saying, this is strange, this is strange. Why did Rey spent all this time on the island with Luke and never got trained? I think she had 2 or 3 lessons, but they weren't really anything. Well, the reason for that is that you have to understand that Rey is the personification of the independent woman, the kind of matriarch. She's not going to submit to the patriarchy. She's not going to put herself under the tutelage of Luke. She's not going to submit to his authority as the male patriarch. So they're never going to have a scene where she's being trained by Luke. That is the whole idea of why you didn't see any real training going on there, because that would basically go against the agenda that they're setting for the movie. So Rey is she personifies this strong female feminist character that women should identify with in the audience. And if she were to put herself as a student under Luke, then that would destroy the feminist ideology that they're trying to, trying to put forth. In other words, she could never be Luke's Padawan. Okay, Yoda, who shows up and acts like an imbecile, a little child, by stomping his feet and giggling. Again, kind of like Luke, he's reverted back to a childlike state. He's not the wise man from Joseph Campbell's A Hero's Journey. He's not the wise 800-year-old, or is it 900-year-old, Jedi Master we've come to know. So he's been, in a sense, castrated. All right. Now moving on, Rey is tempted by the dark side when she finds this hole, and she goes down this hole. Now, if you notice, the hole has seaweed around it, and this is a symbol of the female vagina, a black vagina. Okay, so you have the pubic hairs around it, the seaweed, and she goes down it, and this is forbidden, right? But when she goes down it, she's confronted with multiple images of herself multiplied, like an army of herself, which is indicating that this is power. She's powerful, and there'll be it increases her power, and there'll be many more of her. Okay, so and then when she comes out of it, Luke is surprised that it didn't harm her, it didn't tempt her in any way. So this dark side power that was dangerous for Luke and every other Jedi had absolutely no effect upon her. You know what I mean? So again, this is the symbol here is the female, the vagina, and Rey going down it, which has always been kind of like that. That's a forbidden thing. So let's move on. Snoke represents the archetypal father figure, right? And because this movie is anti-family, Kylo Ren has to kill Snoke. And we don't ever need to know Snoke's background, because people were saying, well, what was his background? Where did he come from? Because at the end of Return of the Jedi, they were no more, the Sith was no more, right? And that's true. And you're not going to find any history where where there was one person remaining. So it's unimportant what Snoke's background is, because family is not important. Lineage is not important in this movie. It's anti-family. That's the whole basis of the feminism, right? So he has to die, and that's a recurring theme you'll find in the movie, is where males die. Males are killed off. Kylo Ren kills Han Solo in a very disrespectful way, but he can't kill General Leia. Notice that. He can't kill Rey. He can't kill Rey. Snoke says kill Rey. He can't kill Rey. Notice that. So that's the theme that's going on. You see that, The other thing is that when I'm going to jump around, so it's not going to follow a consistent order, just to let you know. The other thing you'll notice is when Kylo Ren takes Rey before Snoke, the setting is very red everywhere. And it was oddly red, I thought. And, again, these are my interpretations. You're welcome to your own. But I got the sense of, because this is feminist agenda, of menstrual blood, that this is what they were trying to communicate, So that was that. Then you had the scene where Kylo Ren and Rey use the Force and they battle out for Luke's or Anakin's lightsaber, which is like in midair. And then what ends up happening is they're both very powerful, and it splits or breaks in half. Now, some people were saying, well, that just shows that they're evenly matched, that they're both very skilled at the Force, that's not what it really means. But the breaking of that lightsaber really is the castration or cutting of the phallus or the penis, cutting off of the penis, which feminism is very big on, is cutting the penis or castration. Okay, moving on. Okay, so Kylo Ren tells Rey, "Join me." And at that point, my what I gathered around that was that Kylo was just sick of the whole thing, and he wanted to take Rey, and they would just create something totally different. So to me, this would have been maybe a good thing. And even if if Kylo Ren didn't want to go that direction, Rey could have influenced him to do something good. But Rey said no. And this is again with the theme of not trusting males. Don't trust males. And so she didn't even try, Whereas Luke, if you remember, he was all about salvation, trying to save his father, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker. So that was that. Okay, so I'm going to jump ahead to the planet that they go to, which is the salt mine planet. So when they get there, you'll notice that General Leia, she gives the order to close the door, okay? And the First Order brings in this type of cannon that's going to charge up and blow the door open, right? So the door, again, is a symbol of the female vagina and being closed off. They close it off. The female vagina is being closed off. And the cannon is the male penis, the phallus, trying to enter the vagina, and they close it off so the penis can't get in. So you have that. And then as you move on, you'll see that there is, let me just make sure, this whole thing about the salt, and you have these speeders or these fighters that when they go along, they kick up the dust or the salt, and it's red. And again, that's like menstrual blood, and it's almost like when you see these speeders go along, they're almost like bleeding in a way. It's like that time of the month, Okay, so you have that. And so you have Finn, who is going to sacrifice himself by going into the cannon, and by doing so, it would stop the cannon from firing, thus saving the resistance. All right, but instead of allowing him to do that, which would have been the right course of action, Rose interferes by bumping her speeder bike or whatever into his, preventing him from becoming a matriarch or sacrificing himself for the resistance. And then she gives him a speech about we win by saving the things we love. Now, this goes back to what I see as something the Romans did and something that happened during the transatlantic slave trade, or during slavery in North America, is when they took the African women and they took the males, and then what they would do is something called buck breaking, or they would rape the males in front of the African women, and then the African women would be traumatized so much by this that they would take their younger males and kind of like basically prevent their younger males from doing anything or taking any action against the slave master or the repressive regime. So that would instill such terror, and that the women who would be basically raising their male children would raise generation to generation of males who were fearful, afraid, intimidated, and would never rebel against the system. And I kind of saw that Rose was an example of that type of female who didn't want Finn to do anything, to take action independently of the female matriarch, So that was that. Now, the other thing is Luke force projecting to the salt mine. Now, what's the purpose of him force projecting? Okay, well, he could have he could have gotten to his X-Wing and went there in person and battled Kylo Ren. Well, I want you to think about this, for example. Him not being there makes him, it's anticlimactic. It's like the audience is led to believe that he has all these powers, and then you see that he's just a forced projection. So you're let down, which is how they want you to see the male patriarch. They don't want you to see him powerful. They want you to see him impotent. They want you to see him powerless. And the fact that he's a forced projection means that he's not real, that he's not needed. He's not really needed at all. And he's not tangible. He's not necessary. And that's the idea you're getting in your mind, that he's not an essential component. So he's something you don't even need to consider a threat or consider useful. So that's what I took away from that. Then the other thing is the resistance. They escape through a hole in the back, which is another symbol of the vagina. And obviously Rey is able to use the Force to clear the way, only Rey could do it, clear the way of the boulders or the rocks so that the resistance can escape that hole, that vagina. Okay, so that's some of the main points that I wanted to cover in terms of what I saw was the symbolism based on the feminists and the SJW agenda. Now, there is one more thing I wanted to cover, and the reason why I left this for last, because it's a real stretch of the imagination, but I want to get your guys' interpretation to see if I'm on the money or in the right direction. And this has to do with the entitled the battle with the dreadnought and the resistance ship led by Admiral Holdo. Wait, before I cover that, I wanted to go back to Finn and his battle with Captain Phasma. Now, people are like, well, what is up with Phasma? Why is she so angry at Finn? You know, why is this a big deal? Well, because Phasma represents, of course, the matriarch, the mother, and Finn represents the son who rebels against the mother. So Phasma is upset that her son rebelled against her and left her. So that's the whole contention there, you know. So that's what we got going on there. So that. I guess that plot line had to be resolved. It was never really fleshed out properly. And again, also you notice how Benicio del Toro's character DJ, who turns out to be a traitor, not to be trusted, you know, again reinforces the idea that, you know, be careful of males. Now, going to the space battle with the dreadnought and the resistance ship, what I saw is this. Okay, so you have a dreadnought, which is in back of the resistance ship. This is a type of sexual position. It's in back of the resistance ship, which is the female ship. The male ship is in back of it, pounding it with lasers. Follow me here, like a doggy style type of thing, right? So Admiral Holdo has a plan that she tells no one about because she doesn't trust males. She won't tell Poe, who's with the resistance. If she had told him, she could have avoided the whole plan of going down to the casino planet. But anyway, so she decides her plan is to get the resistance people into the smaller ships and head toward the planet where they have the salt mine. So they all get into the smaller ships and they're slowly heading toward the planet, which to me reminds me of the sperm cells headed toward the egg to impregnate the egg, if you understand what I mean. So you have this type of image of the dreadnought and the resistance ship, and that's an intercourse type thing with the pounding the lasers and then producing the sperm going toward the egg to impregnate it. And then, you know, that type of thing. That's basically what I saw in that. And then Admiral Holdo's plan, which is the rebellious act of the female, like Lilith from the Bible, you have Eve and then you have Lilith, turns around, has the ship turn around, and then rams the dreadnought, destroying it. So I guess that's their way of saying, you know, no more, get rid of your traditional position, like do away with that, rebel, you know. So that is my interpretation of the agenda, the symbolism, meanings of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I would love to hear what you think, or if you have some that you noticed that I may have not covered, please put that in the description box. And you know, if you like this video, hit the like button. Also subscribe to my channel, and feel free to share this with friends and family members, get the word out. And also you can subscribe to my Patreon campaign. You can subscribe for as little as $1. That'll help me to make more videos like this. So until my next broadcast, this is Kylo Ren, and that is all for now. Bye.